Good evening, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. I hope we're all doing well today. Hope the power grid outage isn't really affecting everyone. So I'm just going to go straight into it in typical fashion. I'll just share my screen. So please, you can leave a comment in the chat box if the moment you can see my screen. Okay, please can someone just confirm if you can see my screen? All right, thank you, Don. Thank you, Juliet. Good afternoon, everyone. Again, thank you, Olayinka, for that feedback. So just as a recap, in case you haven't really been joining us since the start of when this program kicked off, my name is Moshokwe. I'm a digitally focused brand and communications practitioner. Basically, I do brand and comms, but I am more focused on digital marketing. I've been blessed to work on brands like Jameson, Artex, Samsung, Nijapi, etc. So going straight into it. So before we do the recap, I just want to point out that this class is very interactive. Every week, what we've been doing is to reward people for interacting with us in every discussion and at every discussion points that we're having. So again, like I said from the jump, I'm not the lecturer. I would like this to be as interactive as possible. So as much as possible, let's ask questions, let's drop comments, and let's engage, right? And in doing a recap, the first week we had this course, we did an overview of digital marketing. The second week, we did a focus on Google, and we spoke about setting up Google My Business and also Google Ads generally. And last week, what we did was we went into email marketing and WhatsApp marketing and how those two forms of digital marketing can enable you grow your business. From an email marketing point of view, we spoke about the 5 Ws on writing effective emails. We also went over the different types of emails. We spoke about newsletters, promos, onboarding emails. When we also spoke about WhatsApp in the class, we explored how WhatsApp business can be used to help you stay connected with customers, how WhatsApp business can enable you make your brand a little more human, from answering questions very quickly, sending out promos, and showcasing your product using the catalog feature, etc. The whole purpose of using WhatsApp for business is to ensure that communication is easier and also helps you build a stronger relationship with your audience. So, Mr. Godwin, could you help us with the first poll? So the first poll is basically a poll that gauges, it's a recap on what we did last week. Yeah, there's one answer. You can just pick anyone. Okay, thank you. Right. Thank you to everyone who participated. We're all absolutely correct. The 5 Ws for writing an effective email starts from who you're sending the message to. The what refers to the content of the email. What are you sending? Then we go into when, where, and why. When are you sending the email? Where are you sending the email to? Which refers to the platform that your customers will most probably be opening the email on. And then the why is the relevant part of everything that we're discussing. Why answers relevancy. Why is this important to your audience? Why should you be sending this? For us to be able to write an effective email, we need to cover all of these Ws. Okay. So looking at last week's assignments, what we asked us to do was to choose any of our product services. It could be fake, it could be real, and create a short email campaign with the subject, message, and CTA, and then a WhatsApp broadcast message to promote that campaign that you are pushing out via email, right? So there is one person who I think his assignment was really, really good, and that is Funshaw Husseini. I really, really like how this is done, especially considering that this first part, right, from the subject line to the pre-header to the header, and then the email or the image tells me everything I need to know. I don't necessarily need to go into the body. I can literally see all the details, right? And we actually discussed that in writing an effective email. So that we need to be able to see very, very clearly what the subject line is, right? A summary in your pre-header tells you what exactly, like I don't have to read everything. I can just simply see this. And then the header is, what starts the email. April flash sale, superior quality at unbeatable prices. One thing I liked about the body was the personalization compared to the other assignments, which kind of just did a general, which basically just did a general greeting, right? This particular one was very, very specific. There was a name attached, and just going through it, right? I could also see a lot of more images that gives me an idea of what I'm trying to buy. So it doesn't just tell me come and buy a wristwatch. It shows me that there are two different types of wristwatches, and then go into what the offering is: 25% off your watch pick, free shipping on all orders, and a limited time offer, which kind of drives urgency. One of the things we've discussed in the previous classes. Um, then the last, I like the fact that there's a call to action and a footer. Another thing I liked about this assignment is the fact that the WhatsApp broadcast message felt personal. It felt like a message written by a human being for another human being. It's one mistake a lot of people make with WhatsApp broadcast messages is the fact that we would simply just send a WhatsApp broadcast that feels very mechanical, right? It just sounds like a lot of information you are giving your audience, but this actually feels like someone wrote this directly to me. It's the fact that it's personalized, and it's the fact that it starts with, I wanted to personally reach out. I really liked how this is really structured, and I think that this is a well-done assignment. Um, Quickly, I would look at another assignment. This is by Olubukola David. This is not bad as well. I like the fact that there's an image. Yeah, so it goes straight into what the subject is. And like I said, it's just welcome and an emoji. Not bad, but it would be better if this was personalized to whoever you're trying to reach. That way, it doesn't feel like a generic email. Another thing I would like to mention is the WhatsApp promo message. This feels very promotional. Compared to the previous one by Funshaw, it felt like a message to me. This is something I personally would skip. A lot of people would skip because I know this is very straight to the point, very simple, but if we have no prior communication, right? And if for any reason I'm not even in a good mood, this is something that doesn't catch my attention, I'm just going to skip it, right? A better way to do this would be writing it in a way that feels like you are telling a story or feels like you are actually chatting with them. So instead of starting with new drop alert, you can start with an introduction of yourself or just a simple greeting, and that includes the person's name. Hello, Mushokwe. Good afternoon, Mushokwe. Good afternoon, Chidima. Good afternoon, Okpeyemi. Really, this is not bad, but I like it. I like the fact that it's straight to the point, but I think that there's a lot more fleshing out that needs to be done in order for this to be an effective WhatsApp message. So this was also good, but I think that from a rewards point of view, we'll be going with Funshaw Husseini. So congratulations, Funshaw. I think your assignment was really, really well done. Thank you very much for participating. So just jumping straight into what we have to do for today. Our focus is on campaign planning. So at the start of this course, we spoke about an overview of digital marketing, giving us the types of digital marketing, and we've been able to take some elements that we discussed in the first class and just kind of expand on them, right? The focus of this course has been more on digital marketing techniques that you could use that probably will not cost you an arm and a leg. Now, for the focus for today is campaign planning. So we're going to be looking at how you can structure your campaign, how you can launch a simple digital marketing campaign. I'm also going to be looking at the basic funnel that would enhance your digital marketing campaign. What I want at the end of this class is for every participant to have a clear blueprint in running a real digital marketing campaign. So everything that we're going to discuss are things this is how you can run a digital marketing campaign. This is what you should look out for. And then we'll have some case study discussions on key elements that should be in a digital marketing campaign that possibly were not in those case studies. So in today's class, we would explore the steps to effective digital marketing campaign planning and the key phases of a campaign. They would also explore a marketing funnel and how they're specific to digital campaigns. Essentially, right, what I'm trying to say is that this class is us trying to have an overview or a background of what a digital marketing campaign is and the essentials for that. And also then looking at how we would drive with funnel marketing to drive results. So where do you start at your at the start of your campaign rather? Where are you at the start of your campaign and where are you at the end of your campaign? How do you funnel people from the start to the end? And what does a funnel even mean in terms of marketing, in terms of digital marketing? So before I go into this, right, please, if you have any questions along the way, you can just put them in the chat. I'll check, I'll respond. Let's try and make this as interactive as possible. Okay, so effective digital marketing campaign planning. So essentially, running a digital marketing campaign is like preparing for a big event. I mean, you don't just go for an Owambe and just show up and hope for the best. There's actual planning to it. You start by planning your dress, planning on carpooling with your friends or, going out to get fuel for your car so that you don't have to maybe do that on the way. If you're planning a campaign, the essence is to take every little detail and ensure that it comes through. So imagine campaign planning like having a checklist. You need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this for it to be effective, right? One thing about campaign planning is that you take different elements of your essentials and you work to fit what you're trying to do. So even if you have a checklist of 10 things that should happen in a digital marketing campaign, you don't necessarily need to do all of them, right? Having that as an idea or having that at the back of your mind just helps you plan better. So not everything might be relevant to your campaign at the moment, but it's very important that you know that if you're going to run a digital marketing campaign for your business, these are the key things that you need to look out for. These are the key steps that you need to take. So you plan every detail very carefully, the same way you plan a night out. You need to make sure everything runs smoothly. So in the same way, small business owners need a simple, clear checklist to plan and run a successful digital campaign. So digital campaigns are not things that you just start on your laptop. Oh, I'm just going to sit down and start, right? First things first, there's usually a brainstorming session. It's either you are thinking on your own, doing a little bit of research, understanding who your audience is, and then you then go into like your actual structuring. What's your message? What kind of channels do you want to use, etc., right? And then you go live. So with how easy digital marketing is, it's very easy to have this misconception that you can just start it. There's usually a lot of planning for big brands and brands that usually maybe use agencies. Your planning period is usually about 3 weeks to maybe 3 months, really depending on the scale of the campaign. And I don't think that this is different for any small business or any entrepreneur who's just trying to start out or who's trying to grow their business, right? For anything marketing related, anything digital marketing related, first things first, there has to be a planning process. After that, you need to do, structuring your campaign from phase to phase. What's your first phase? What are you doing during awareness? What are you doing during your engagement phase? What are you doing to drive every other element of your digital marketing campaign? So these essential steps, the steps that we are going to be going into in the next couple of slides, gives you an idea of what your digital marketing campaign should cover. What are the key things that you should see and the key things that you should do? So the first step is defining your goal. If you've been with us from the start of the class till now, one thing that we've always said from week 1 to week 3 to now is that you cannot do any marketing without a definitive goal. If you don't have a goal, stay in your house. Don't do anything. There's no point, right? Your goal starts with a clear destination. Where do you want to go? What are you trying to do? Are you trying to increase your sales? Are you trying to grow your customer base? Do you want more people to visit your website? Are you trying to grow your social media presence or your social media followers? Are you trying to just generally build awareness? Like you're just launching, nobody knows about your business, your product, your service. What is your objective? A clear goal keeps your campaign focused and makes it very easy to measure success. So simply put, right, you would not you would not go into your car, start your car, and just drive aimlessly. Even if you're just trying to drive, there's a reason why you're doing that. You're probably trying to clear your head, or you want to just, maybe warm your car a little bit. Every activity in life requires a goal. If you're going from point A to point B, there's a reason why you're going from point A to point B, even if it's you just taking a random walk. So the goal setting is the most important stage of your campaign plan. It's the most important step. You have to have a goal. It's the first thing that you need to do. The next thing is defining your audience. So when planning a digital marketing campaign, it's not enough to say you're selling to everyone. There is nobody on this planet that says you want to sell to everyone, right? Everyone has a core target. You most probably have a primary audience, a secondary audience, a tertiary audience. Your primary audience is perhaps the core of your audience, who you are actively trying to reach. Secondary audience would be people that can possibly influence your primary audience, or maybe even those who are like, they're not necessarily key decision makers. They're not the ones that would make a purchase, but they are perhaps maybe they're the ones that would use the product. For example, if you are selling a beverage to children, right? Your primary audience is not going to be the child, because the child isn't buying the beverage. The person who is going to buy the beverage is the parents, right? So your secondary audience is the children who will drink it. They can influence their parents on what type of beverage that they want, which ultimately affects your sales. But your primary audience, the people who will make that purchase, are the parents, the people who who have the money, right? So you need to be very specific about who you're talking to. To do that, you need to understand two key things: demographics and psychographics. So demographics simply is the basic facts about your audience. So think about age, right? Are they teenagers? Are they young adults? Are they working class professionals? Have they retired, right? The age range defines your audience. The age range also defines the kind of activities that you would give and you would put out. So if you're trying to reach working class professionals, for example, the kind of strategy you would use is totally different from when you're trying to reach university students. So it's very, very important to know what age range you are trying to reach. Are they millennials? Are they Gen Zs? Are they boomers? Are they within the age of 18 to 30, for example? So sometimes your age range might be broad like that, right? You might combine millennials and Gen Z because the product and service you're offering feeds more into them. You can then break them down into who is the primary of these two and who do we want to reach, but they're not very core for us in terms of what we're trying to drive in terms of growth and revenue. The second thing you need to look at in terms of demographics is gender. Are you trying to reach males, females? Are you trying to reach both of them? The third thing is location. Where do they live? What city do they live? What state do they live? What neighborhood? What country, right? The third thing about demographics you need to consider is income level. What is their earning power? Are they low income earners? Are they people who are on pocket money, for example? Are they middle income earners? Are they high income earners? I think I said this in the first class, how different people interact with the internet and with digital media. It's usually dependent on things like this. For example, someone who is a high income earner is more often than not, right? I'm not saying that they will most probably not do it, but more often than not, they're most probably not going to be spending all their time on TikTok, except if they're a content creator. So if you're trying to reach someone who makes money in billions or millions, you're not going to be thinking TikTok, right? You're going to be thinking of channels like maybe LinkedIn. If you're trying to reach let's say, teenagers and young adults, you'd most probably not be thinking of LinkedIn or maybe Facebook. You probably think Instagram, think TikTok, etc. And then another thing about demographics is their occupation. Are they students, entrepreneurs, 9-to-5ers, workers, artisans? What they do also determines how they use social media, how they use digital media. It really, really determines how they act as digital natives, right? The digital activities of an artisan, like a painter, is totally different from digital activity of a student. You need to understand how and like what the occupation is and how they interact with the internet so that you know how best to target them, right? So an example of demographics is if you sell baby clothes, your demographic might be women aged between 25 to 35 who are living in urban areas in middle income earners, right? That's an example of a demographic audience breakdown. Now, psychographics is slightly different. Psychographics tells you mindset, interest, behaviors. So if you've ever tried, let's say, running a Facebook ad, for example, when you determine the age, the gender, and location, right, it will probably ask you things like interests. What do they like? Are they fashion, food? That's kind of what we mean by psychographics. Now, if you're thinking about psychographics, think about their lifestyle. How do they live? Busy professionals have a very different lifestyle compared to people who are fitness enthusiasts. A busy professional is not in the gym a lot or all the time. A fitness enthusiast is probably in the gym 4 to 5 times a week. A busy professional will probably be in the gym maybe 2 or 3 times a week. Like that, those two people have two different interests. They will be reached in two different ways, right? And understanding their lifestyle gives you an idea of how to do this. The second thing for psychographics is interest. What do they love? I mean, are they, like I mentioned, are they food lovers, fashion lovers? Are they interested in personal development? So think about it this way. If you are trying to sell healthy food, right, you would know that your audience is aged between maybe 18 to 25. Their lifestyle will probably be around fitness, health, and their interest will be around food. It will be very off for you to reach them the same way you want to reach someone who is a techie or who is very interested in tech gadgets. The third thing about psychographics and something that is very, very important is values. What matters to them? Is affordability big on their list in terms of patronizing brands? Is the quality big, right? Or is quality something that they're very big on, rather? Are they about status? Do they care more about how sustainable the product is as opposed to the price? So this would help you understand how to reach them, how to even set your pricing. For example, for someone who is very keen on affordability, it makes no sense to price yourself really, really high. But if your price is high, then it means that you are more focused on someone who is interested in quality and status. Like if they buy this thing for 150,000 naira, for them it means something because they spent a large amount of money on it. For someone who just wants to buy a t-shirt of the t-shirt that doesn't cost more than 10,000 naira, he's not your target audience. He's not going to patronize your brand. But for someone who is into luxury wears and they're very, very interested in the quality and the kind of status that they would get when they wear that, right? The value they place on that is important for you to understand. Another thing for on psychographics rather is online behavior. Where do they spend their time? Are they actively on Instagram? Are they actively on TikTok? Are they actively on LinkedIn? And how do they interact? For some people, all they do is they watch videos. Some people prefer reading blogs. Some people actually want to join communities. They want to join Telegram groups. They want to join WhatsApp groups. Let me give you a specific example. One of my past employers, he told me that he prefers to watch Instagram videos on silence. Like he doesn't want to hear the sound. He feels like he can get the gist of it without having to like unmute the sound. Do you get? So for someone like that, it's very important to know that, okay, videos are a big deal for them. So I would not try to reach them using an article, but I also need to be able to create my video in a way that what I'm trying to say needs to be said without them having to unmute. So maybe you might need to put text in your video. That's an example of using psychographics to build your digital campaign. So when you're trying to reach them with a digital campaign, you know that I'm using, they prefer videos and they prefer to watch videos on mute. So all of your information cannot be in the voiceover or cannot be in the sound. You need to be able to augment that with either your caption or the details in your video. When I mean details, I mean text. So an example of psychographics, for example, if you're selling baby clothes, your psychographic might be young mothers who love convenience. They follow parenting pages on Instagram and they shop online for baby products. If they love convenience, it means that you giving them or you creating a campaign that allows them to stay in their house and receive your products is key. They're not big on maybe coming all the way to your store, for example. If they are following parenting pages, you can also partner with some parenting pages that they frequent to put your message there. It's the same with how influencer marketing works. If someone is a huge fan of an influencer, and you're trying to reach them with a digital marketing campaign, then it makes sense to actually work with that influencer to try and convince them to patronize your products. So in trying to understand your audience and build your audience in building your digital media campaign, you need to understand demographics, like the basic facts about them, their age, their gender, their location, and then psychographics, how they think, right? One way to get this information, the only way to get this information is research. For psychographics, you can actually do some desktop research to find out how people interact with similar products. You have research out there that actually details psychographics. What some other people do is that they do questionnaires. I think most everybody here would have probably done that with your final year project. Trying to understand why people do what they do using questionnaires is trying to understand psychographics. So again, research. Another way you can drive or build your audience and understand demographics and psychographics is customer interaction. When you're talking to someone over and over again, you'll be able to pick up subtle cues that they will most probably not give you as information. For example, knowing that your customer loves convenience will come from the fact that you've probably tried to get them to come to your store and that interaction did not work out as planned. So in trying to reach them the next time, you've decided that you would focus on free deliveries and getting the products directly to them. So the next thing in setting up a digital marketing campaign is choosing the right channel, right? You may have limited time and money, so you really need to pick your channels very wisely. Like I was saying earlier with understanding your audience and understanding psychographics and demographics, right? Someone who is a fitness enthusiast between the ages of 18 to 23, knowing that allows you to choose the right channel. So for someone like that, you're not trying to try and reach out to them on Facebook. TikTok is probably your best bet because of their age and because you can actually create content around what their interest is. So where does your audience spend time online? It could be Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook, email, Google, or even SMS, depending on your customer type. Understanding your customer type would help you choose the right channel. So like I was saying earlier, all the steps I'm highlighting are important. Not everything might make it into your campaign setup, but it's very, very, very important that you understand your audience, understand your channel, these little things. Again, you're not here spending money. You're trying to build your campaign out. You're trying to connect with people. So you need to understand what kind of channel is right for not just you as a brand, because your brand might not be great on some channels. For example, if you are a very visually led brand, Twitter might not be your best bet because it's more conversational, right? You can still use Twitter, no doubt. But if what you are selling is very visually led, try channels like Instagram, try channels like TikTok that actually integrate shopping into it. You might not be able to do that on Twitter. So choosing the right channel is very, very, it's linked to understanding who your audience is. The next thing is crafting your message. Now, what are you trying to say to people and how are you saying it? So it's not just important to know what you're trying to say. I think what you're trying to say is perhaps the easiest thing you can do. It's a given. You need to know what you're trying to say, but we also need to consider the format. Remember the example I gave about a former employer of mine who preferred to listen, he preferred to watch Instagram videos on mute. Now, the format matters because he was very specific on Instagram videos. He didn't say TikTok, but also having an Instagram video with a little bit of text that gives you an overview is important. So the format your message takes is as important as what you are saying. Without both, you don't have a campaign, right? For some people, they don't want to read long form messages. So you will not catch them reading articles on LinkedIn. So you're not going to try and connect with them on LinkedIn. They prefer short form messages. They prefer something that they can read very, very quickly and move on. So your best bet might actually be Twitter. And your format then is, oh, instead of making videos or putting out images, I just want to have short tweets that can make them smile, make them laugh, and also engage them. The next is crafting your offer, right? What will make people pay attention? Are you dropping a discount? Is it a new product launch? Are you giving them free delivery? Is there a limited time for a promotion? You need an offer to get people's attention. Now, your message ideally should get their attention, but what keeps them is if that message is relevant to them. So I need to be very, very, very clear. An offer doesn't necessarily mean that you have, let's say, a discount to give. Sometimes an offer is signing up for a newsletter. Sometimes an offer is watching interesting content. Basically, your offer needs to be simple, valuable, and clearly communicated. It needs to be simple enough for your audience to understand. It needs to be valuable to them, which is the most important thing. So if what your audience is looking for is interesting content, I'm sorry, but giving them a 5% discount might not be relevant because in that moment, they don't want the discount. They just want to be able to see your content in a way that they can easily relate to rather. The last element of this setting up your campaign and the steps is your budget and your timeline. So how much do you have to spend and for how long? So we've been saying this thing all throughout the course, right? That your budget does not have to be massive. However, digital marketing is not free. It's a common misconception, but it's not free, right? There will always be a cost level to any form of marketing, especially digital marketing. Your budget does not have to be massive, but effective use of those budgets will give you results, right? How effective are you using your budget? If you have a 50,000 naira budget, for example, it might be more effective for you to put that into paid ads for promotions while you handle a lot yourself. For some people, they would rather take their whole budget and give to a content creator or an influencer because in that moment, a content creator would give you the most effective results. So it's being effective with your budget is what drives your results. The size of your budget is all well and good. You might have a budget of 5 million naira, for example. If you're not managing the 5 million naira well, you waste money. Also, your timeline can impact your budget. So if you want to run a campaign for 1 week, you might not necessarily, that automatically means that your spend might not necessarily be high. And even if it's high, the results you would see would probably not be as great as when you spread it out. Sometimes if you're going to spend 500K in 1 week, the platform that you're spending it on, if you're trying to set up a Facebook ad, for example, it will tell you that this amount you're spending within this time frame might impact your results. Google will tell you the same thing. Even when you are trying to do programmatic advertising, you want your ads to appear on websites. Even when you're talking to blogs and websites directly, if you tell them that you want to run this thing for 1 month, it will most probably impact your budget. right? It will most probably mean that your budget will increase to a larger amount than you probably planned. So sometimes you need to look at your budget and also look at the time frame of your campaign. Sometimes it's better to go for something short and just scale from there. And sometimes you might have a longer period to stretch out a larger budget. So it really, really depends on what you're trying to achieve, how long it is, and what your budget is completely. So if you have a small budget, it's probably better for you to not run long-term campaigns. It's better to spend 50,000 naira in 3 weeks than to try spending 50,000 naira in 6 months. Your campaign will drag. You will probably serve the ads to the same people over and over again, and it might not be as effective. So always factor in your timeline and know that your timeline can impact your budget. You should always consider this when planning your campaign. So we are about to go into the second poll. Mr. Godwin, please, could you help us pull up the second poll? Okay, so it says, which of these is the very first step when planning a digital campaign? Choosing the right channel, defining your goal, crafting your offer, setting your budget. What do you think is the very first thing that you have to do in setting up and planning your digital campaign? Okay, thank you. Absolutely correct. The first step is always defining your goal. If you don't have a goal, you might as well just not do anything. The purpose of digital marketing is ensuring that you are doing something objectively, right? So it means you have to have a goal. You can't, if you have the right channel, you have the right offer, and you have a budget, but you do not have an objective, it will fall flat, because the only way you can measure your campaign is to measure it vis-a-vis your objectives and your goals. Okay, thank you very much. All right, so we're going into the discussion elements of today's class. So it's going to be slightly different from what we did in the last couple of weeks, right? What we're going to do is that we're going to look at different case studies and discuss what could be better about their campaign. So what I'll do is I'll show you one slide of a case study, what this person is trying to do, and there'll be a question underneath that. Again, read the questions well. We'll probably do like a 2 minutes period for you to read through the questions and just try and think through your answers. Everything that we are discussing is as a result of what we just finished discussing, which are the steps in planning a digital marketing campaign. So we'll go into it one case study at a time. If you want to speak, just drop an emoji in the comments, or you could just indicate and raise your hand. Mr. Godwin would give you access to speak, and you take the floor basically. So whoever has the best answers, and we will discuss the answers after we have our actual discussions. We'll discuss the answers afterwards. Whoever has the best answers would get an airtime prize. So let's try and make this as interactive as possible. Okay. So the first case study is for Amaka's hair business. Amaka just opened a hairdressing salon in Abuja. She wants to attract new customers and has 500,000 naira to spend. She tries to run ads on YouTube, showcasing her styling videos and some general beauty quotes she found online. She sets the ad to reach people all over Nigeria. So the question now is, based on the campaign planning essentials that we have just discussed, what are the gaps in Amaka's plan? So I'll read the question again while we're still trying to think through our answers. If you want to speak, please drop an emoji in the comments, or you can simply just raise your hand. Mr. Godwin, please just give anyone, the first person, anyone, as random as possible. So Amaka opened a hairdressing salon in Abuja. She wants to attract new customers. So that's her objective. Her objective is to get new customers, and she already has a budget, right? She has decided that the channel that she wants to use is YouTube, and the format of her message is YouTube videos for styling and general beauty quotes that she has found online. And in terms of demography, she wants to reach everybody in Nigeria. So what do you think are the gaps in her plan? Does anyone want to try answering? Okay, Funshaw has his hand up, so can we start with Funshaw?
So I was saying based on the campaign planning by for Mamaka's campaign, I would say there's a lack of specific targeting because
Okay,
reaching people all over Nigeria is quite very enormously broad. So while even if YouTube allows for demographic and interest-based targeting, Amaka isn't leveraging enough. So she could possibly, I think she could possibly or significantly improve her campaign by focusing on people within a reasonable radius in Abuja and like just kind of like target those that radius in Abuja. So those
okay,
interested in hair care, beauty maintenance, and all of that, or even hairstyles she specializes in can kind of like locate her. So I think yeah, there's a lack of specific targeting in her campaign.
okay. That's fine. That's actually correct. Yeah, she's trying to reach everyone in Nigeria, and for someone who has a shop in Abuja, it's even a little bit redundant because if I see it in Lagos, I'm not going to travel all the way to Abuja just to get my hair done. There are 1,000,001 people around me to get my hair done. Another problem with broadly targeting when your business is focused in a specific area is the fact that sometimes the platforms will send your ads to wherever the spend is cheapest. So if someone in Zamfara, um, if it's cheaper to reach someone in Zamfara compared to someone in Lagos, you'd most probably see it in Zamfara. Or if it's cheaper to reach someone in Lagos, if you have more of a relevant, if you have more people engaging with you in Lagos, it would serve to people in Lagos. And that doesn't necessarily help your business because no one is really going to travel to get their hair done. Most times, there will probably be special occasions or special or specific places where you might want to travel to get your hair done. But it's better to be very specific if your business is within a set location. Okay, Mr. Godwin, there are people in the comments that want to try. Olayinka's hand is raised. Then also, I think Nkoyo Uchenwoso also says he or she wants to try. So you can just give them access, please. Thank you.
Okay, good evening, Mr.
Hi.
Shope.
Hi,
Good
Olayinka. Good
evening,
evening.
good evening, everyone. So, I want to talk about what I think, based on our campaign planning essentials, what are the gaps in Amaka's plan? So, as Felicia rightly said, I agree to. But my other additional point is this. First, aside from she not defining our target audience very well, I think the platform she also chooses is wrong. Sorry. Our platform she chose is wrong. Or let me not say outrightly wrong, but based on the goal she wants to attract new customers and she's focusing on YouTube. Majorly, YouTube is a global market. It's a global app for it's mostly for educational content. If I want to make my hair, I wouldn't go to YouTube to be looking for an hairdresser there. I will most likely be checking platform like Instagram, Facebook, where I see their audience interacting with them often. And that way, but I won't go to YouTube to go and look for a new hairdresser there. So I think that's where she's making the mistake. The platform is also very wrong compared to the goal she wants to achieve. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much. Does anyone else want to try before we go into the answers? And yes, you are absolutely correct. YouTube is not a bad platform to use. However, if you're trying to attract new customers, there are other things you could do. We discussed, we discussed Google My Business in this class. And for someone who is in Abuja and has a physical location and wants to attract new customers, I think jumping straight into YouTube is maybe not the best route. There's still one other answer that you could say. So if does anyone want to give it a try, but both answers are absolutely correct and spot on. Anyone else? Or should we just move on? Okay. 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 Yeah, you're right. She has no clear call to action as well. Yeah, absolutely correct. So this is what Amaka missed. Like Funsho said, Her audience was not properly defined. She needed to target people close to her salon. So local targeting, right? It's not even enough to just target people in Abuja. If she's in Gwarinpa, then focus on Gwarinpa. It's that simple, right? Second is an objective mismatch. Like Olayinka said, her goal is working customers, but she ran YouTubers for general inspiration. She didn't, and it's not clear that she ran a salon promotion. So yeah, nah. The channel issue, like Olayinka mentioned, is also very key. YouTube is good for awareness. It's good when you want to get people to know your business, but if you're trying to get people to patronize you, immediate bookings, like platforms like Instagram, Facebook, even Google My Business, like I mentioned earlier, will be better, right? Another thing that I don't think anyone has mentioned is a media format mismatch. Now, she's trying to put beauty like videos of her making like styling people's hair, which is great, but inspirational quotes do not drive local service bookings. No one is going to book you because you are doing motivational Monday. Quite frankly, no one cares. So if you want people to patronize your business, you need promotions, you need service lists, you need testimonials. Those are the kind of formats that you should be promoting. And last thing, she spends very broadly without a focused approach. So she most probably wasted the 500K, which, I mean, if you did it better, you would most probably get more. So if I'm going to pick one person that had a better response, it would be Olayinka. But again, we have 2 more case studies. So please, you can try as many times as you want. Just indicate, raise your hands, put an emoji in the comments. Just ensure that you raise your hands so that Mr. Godwin can give you access to speak. Okay, so let's go into the next case study. So this is for Tunde's food delivery service. Tunde started a food delivery service targeting office workers in Lagos Island. So that's a little bit more specific. He has 100,000 naira to promote. He created an Instagram page, posted daily pictures of food, but he did not include prices. He didn't include ordering details or anything special, anything like a special launch offer. He posted daily, but didn't really run any targeted ads to specific office hubs. So based on everything that I've said, I think this is even a little bit more easier. What could Tunde have done differently? Does anyone want to try? Okay, Funshaw, your hand is raised. Hi, Funshaw.
Hi, hello. Can you hear me now? Is it better?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, so it says Sunday started a food delivery service targeting office workers in Lagos Island with 100,000 to promote. He created an Instagram page and posted daily photos. So the question here is based on his campaign planning essential, what could Sunday have done differently? I think from the point of view, I personally feel Tunde's campaign is missing crucial information in post. For example, Tunde only posted pictures of or post only post pictures of his of food, but he has failed to include essential details like the food prices, how to order, where to order, and maybe any special lunch offers or anything like incentive or anything that can like captivate the audience. And I would
Yes.
also add the point that also there's also a lack of targeted advertising in Tunde's campaign because despite aiming for office workers on Lagos Island, I feel if Tunde had run maybe an Instagram ad or specifically target office hubs around, let's say in Lagos, he would have better reach and maybe a better organic result. Thank you.
Yep, you are spot on again. Thank you very much. Does anyone want to try? Could just move on to the next one. For the next one, I'm just going to call someone randomly. I think that, yeah, I'll probably just call someone very randomly. So if you hear your name, maybe try. Okay, you're actually very correct. His audience is not clearly defined. He didn't focus his efforts on office workers specifically or office hubs. I mean, if you're trying to reach these people, you should be serving ads to office hubs, like around those areas that you tend to work. Your objective is not reflected in your actions. Daily posting does not guarantee orders, it only guarantees visibility. Then something very, very important as well is that your channel selection, Tunde's channel selection was a mistake. While Instagram is good, pairing it with targeted ads would have been smarter, right? So Instagram is all well and good, but if you're not really promoting, secondly, message or format issues like you clearly stated. I mean, food photos are not enough. He could have mentioned clear offers like 2,000 naira lunch delivered in 30 minutes. That gives people an idea of what they would expect from your service, right? And a clear call to action. Your audience does not know what to do next. Like, you're just posting food pictures. I don't know if I should actually send you a message, or should I ask you for your services, your price for your services in the comments. These are the things that Tunde missed. So the final case study before we move into other things is for Kemi's fashion brand. Kemi owns a fashion brand specializing in trendy, affordable outfits for university students and recent graduates aged 18 to 25. Now, compared to the previous, I think this Kemi's fashion brand, this case study has a little bit more detailed segmentation. So it's very clear that you're trying to reach young people, but university students and recent graduates aged 18 to 25. She wants to boost online sales during Christmas season. She posts daily of her clothes on Facebook with captions like "new drop available." Based on everything we've learned so far, what did Kemi miss, or what did she do wrong? So I am just going to call randomly. The first name I'm seeing is Efunke Michael. Sorry if I pronounced your name wrongly. Mr. Michael, do you want to attempt? There's airtime to be won. While we're waiting for Mr. Michael to decide, Nkoyo Uche Nwosu, I know you indicated that you wanted to speak earlier, so this is a chance for you to now speak. So I've called out two people. Also, if you want to speak as well, you can also just raise your hand. It's fine. Koyo, Michael, do you guys want to try?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Thank you so much.
Okay. Number one, what is Kemi's objective and goal? To
Yes.
make contact with university students and recent graduates aged 18 to 25. She has also made known to us that she's making Christmas season during her clothes are for Christmas season, and she posts it daily, maybe prior to when Christmas is coming. But she did not tell us how much she's going to sell these clothes. What if people outside of this age range are interested in her clothes? Should they not also buy? University students and those who had presently graduated, who will buy for them? Is it not their parents? Because it's expected that students are sponsored by their parents. So I would think her target should rather have been parents instead of these children. But she's making it for children, but it's the parents who will buy. So when she's looking for, her campaign should be for parents between the ages of, let's say 45 to 60, because those are the ones who should be having children in the university and those who are just graduating out of the university. That's number one. Number two, where is she posting, or where is she, what media is she going to use, or what medium is she going to use to get these people? People of this age range, a lot of them are on Instagram, Facebook, and especially WhatsApp. So I would think this media should be where she will post whatever it is that she has to send across to those who will be available. Actually, this is not the question I would have loved to answer. The one I indicated is the one I actually would have loved to answer, or the second one. But for this one, this is what I think. Thank you
very much. I actually like the unique perspective on the audience. So you are not wrong. However, it's also like there are young adults who actually buy their own clothes themselves. However, it also makes a lot of sense to add older people and maybe parents as part of your audience, because not, again, they might not buy those clothes, but they will probably be funding that. And sometimes parents actually go out of their way to buy clothes for their children. So I like the fact that you mentioned that the audience could be broader, which I also agree with. I also like the fact that you mentioned the platform. Yes, they are very heavy on Instagram. I would also say maybe TikTok. So Facebook is perhaps not the best platform for university students, recent graduates. More often than not, you'd find them on Instagram. More often than not, you'd find them on TikTok. So I think that her posting daily is fine. However, the channel she's using is also not the best. Thank you very much. I'm sorry about the you wanting to answer the earlier question. I wish that we would have given you a chance to speak, but I really love the fact that your contribution is even different from what I would have even thought, and I actually agree with you. So that was really good. Thank you very much. Does anyone else want to try before we go into what the answers are? Anyone? Okay, Olayinka, over to you.
Yes, so in addition, I still think that our platform is not too right. Facebook for ages of 18 to 25 is not too okay. And then just dropping a caption like new drop available is still not enough call to action. You can use other taglines. Yes, like she rightly said, we need to talk about the price of the clothes. Me personally, if I just see someone that keeps posting clothes without giving more information about the clothes, no price, nothing, I will most likely not patronize. So one of the things I think she can do is to add prices, talk about the offers, talk maybe if you are buying this and this other clothes, you get this amount. Maybe if she wants to offer discount, that's optional. But prices, she can add that. Then Facebook is not too much of a good platform. It's not too much of a good target platform for university students or 18 to 25 like that.
Yep, I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you. So yes, like you said, while Facebook organic reach is low for a young audience, Instagram or TikTok ads will perform better. Secondly, her captions were weak. Yeah, I mean, because she's trying to run something during December, I think instead of just saying new drop available, she could have done something to drive urgency, like, oh, Christmas sales now, offer valid, like something like that, that speaks to not just the season, but also gives people the idea that this is not going to happen every day. Again, like you both said, pricing, shipping, all of that information is missing. So what she has done right is to perhaps just put herself out there. But if she's going to run a digital campaign, you need to be very clear on what you want people to do. There's no call to action, nothing. And I deliberately ensured that this person did not have a budget, because again, if you want to drive for sales, I mean, you need to be able to boost your posts, right? You need to be able to target your audience and create something exciting around the season. So she didn't do any of this. She didn't take advantage of the season. She did not choose her channels rightly. And I think that the call to action could have been clearer. So yeah, thank you very much for those contributions. Everyone was correct. Yeah, right. Thank you. So the next element of this, or what we're trying to discuss, is then what a marketing funnel is and how it works for digital campaigns. Yeah, so let's just go straight into it. So what is a digital marketing funnel? Essentially, a digital marketing sales funnel is a combination of tactics that is utilized to generate traffic to your business and nurture them to become loyal customers. So in marketing, right, there is a process and a funnel in which your customers run through. And the reason why we call it a funnel is that it gets smaller. Like if you look at this image on the side, it gets smaller as you are going downwards, because the top of your funnel is where you try and attract a large number of people, but it's expected with marketing that there will be fall-offs. So because I've seen your ad today and I'm aware that you exist, doesn't mean I am interested in your product, right? I'm within the scope of your target audience quite rightly, but I'll probably drop off maybe at the first stage or the second phase. So a funnel allows you to break down your marketing, your digital marketing campaign into different phases, and you can have different tactics per phase. So it's not just enough to understand the steps in setting up a digital marketing campaign, like knowing your audience and all of that. You also need to understand that at the start of your campaign, there will be a fall-off. And at every element and every phase of your campaign, there has to be a specific activity to drive and engage on, or to drive engagement and interaction. So the reason why there's a fall-off is because it is not enough to just do one thing. You need to constantly engage through the life cycle of your audience and your customer or your potential customer to ensure that they get to the final element of the funnel, which is sales, retention, etc. Right? The digital marketing funnel is a framework that illustrates your consumer journey in distinct steps. You start from awareness, which is the top of your funnel. Awareness is the biggest part of your funnel, is where everybody that's seeing your message sits. Consideration is the next phase, which is where probably they'll probably consider, then you go to conversion and then loyalty. You need to optimize every stage in a way that brings more leads, people who are potentially interested in your business, and increases the conversion rates. So what is the rate of people going from awareness to actual conversion and sales, right? Understanding every level of the funnel and understanding that there are different marketing activities and different digital marketing strategies for each phase is very key in ensuring that people get to the final element of the funnel. So again, it's a funnel. I don't know if you guys have actually seen like an actual funnel where you pour stuff. It gets smaller at the bottom, right? But it's there's a lot happening at the top, which is how a marketing campaign works. You have a lot of activity at the start, but you need to be a lot more systematic and a lot more objective, a lot more detailed, right, with how you want to reach people. So you're not just going to be doing things for mass awareness sake once they move from the awareness phase. And you can't continue to stay at awareness because awareness is not going to drive your numbers. So how then do you, what is the journey for every customer and how do you speak to them in every journey? That is what a marketing funnel does for you. It gives you a clear picture of where they are and what activities you need to drive in every stage of the funnel. Okay. So marketing 101 will teach you this, the AIDA funnel. What AIDA means is awareness, interest, desire, and action. This is the OG marketing funnel, right? You would start from awareness, you go into interest, then desire, and then finally action, right? It teaches you that this basic funnel will get customers to your product or service in a simple and streamlined manner. Basically, it's a straight line. However, this concept is valid. It's not invalid. However, in the last couple of years, we've seen a significant change in how customers find services and products. For example, a lot of people are not in this awareness bucket because awareness doesn't necessarily happen when you send out a message. Sometimes awareness happens when people Google your products or Google a service and then they find you listed under that as a service provider. So that has pretty much changed, right? And the traditional sales funnel has moved prospects from awareness to interest, then desire, and finally action. What business owners do with this funnel is that they will base their marketing activities around every stage. This isn't wrong, but things have changed. There's a lot more that goes on in marketing and advertising generally, that this is not the most objective way to reach your audience. There's a better way to do this. And there are different newer models of what a marketing funnel is. So I'm just going to go into what the one specific for digital marketing and digital sales is, which is this, the image that you're seeing on this other side. It's awareness, discovery, consideration, conversion, and retention. The major difference between this and the previous slide is that one, you have engagement, which is something that in the last 30 years has been like a new addition. Before, marketing never really had a feedback loop. It was very, very linear. You send your message, TV, radio, you've seen it, and you expect that it will lead to sales. However, engagement is where people thrive, is how your audience will discover your brand, is how you engage with them. They go into consideration, which is where they're considering you. They're like generating inquiries. Oh, what do you do? How much is it? What are your delivery timelines? Then conversion, where you then convince them to actually make a purchase. And the last is retention, which retention is the other addition to the funnel that ensures that it is no longer a linear line, but a loop. Because retention is relationship building. Retention is where people actually become customers. So if they are customers, you can start the funnel all over again. So I'll give an example. I am a huge fan of a streetwear fashion brand called TSG, right? TSG hasn't really done a lot of awareness in the last couple of months, but he has built a relationship with me in a way that if he does awareness now, I would immediately see it, because I followed him on Instagram, followed him on Twitter. I've put on post notifications. I actually want to see when his next line drops. So I'm looking forward to the next phase, because a lot of relationship has been built. I've patronized him before. I like his service. I actually tell people about his service. Sorry, about his product, rather. It's not his service, it's a product. So the difference between the traditional funnel and the newer funnels, especially for digital marketing, is that there's a feedback loop. There's a chance for discovery and engagement, and there's also a chance for relationship building, which it doesn't end with conversion or sales. It ends and starts again when you are able to build relationship and retain people. So these days, like I said, funnels are not straight lines. They are consumer journeys that really never end. And that's, if we're going to take away anything from this class, is that your consumer journey never ends, right? You are a customer or a consumer of Coca-Cola. You are not a new customer. There would obviously be ways that they will keep trying to reach you over and over again. Your consumer journey never ends, because consumer journeys are tied to what you need, interest. So you are craving Coca-Cola right now, you go out and buy Coca-Cola. You are craving Coca-Cola, you see an ad, you go out and buy Coca-Cola. There is that loop, right? The traditional marketing funnel used to be simple. Grab attention, build interest, push people to buy at the bottom. But here, the process is no longer a straight line. Consumers discover products on their own. They do research before even talking to a business. So it means that they can enter the funnel at different stages, not just at the top. That's what I was saying earlier. Bro, your awareness might not start at this awareness phase. You'll probably start with engagement. I've already Googled you, and then I'm going to your Instagram page and I see that you're having an engagement campaign. Oh, follow us and get this chance. Like, that kind of thing keeps me on your page, right? And then because of that engagement, I can then move straight into consideration, where I would start asking questions. What does this do? How can I participate? And eventually that would lead me into conversion, which is then purchasing your product or service. And finally, then is when relationship building. I've purchased your product, service. Remember in the last class, we talked about email marketing. Relationship building and retention. This is where email marketing comes in, because you as a business owner already have my email. And then for you to build a relationship, then you send me emails, you send me an offer, you send me something that makes me feel like I'm part of a community, right? And then it takes me back to either awareness or discovery. So awareness is the top of your funnel, right? It's where you start. However, I don't have to join in an awareness with newer funnels and newer ways of looking at marketing funnels. I can simply just go straight into discovery, And if I've done discovery and I've engaged with you multiple times, I'm simply just going to go straight into your DM to ask, do you have this product available? It's the same way I am with bookstores. I buy books a lot. I don't really, like right now, Roving Heights, I don't see their post on my Instagram feed. I go straight to their Instagram page, check what they have, or I go straight into their DMs and ask, do you have this book? Or any person I buy books from generally, do you have this book? I am not entering the funnel at awareness anymore. I'm entering as consideration because you've built a relationship with me. I've bought from you multiple times. So a digital marketing funnel, just to recap, it's not a straight line. It's a consumer journey. It never really ends. And what we need to do as professionals, or digital marketing practitioners, is to ensure that we have something for everyone at every stage, right? Oh yeah, so what does the acronyms on the diagram mean? The first acronym is TOFU, which is top of the funnel. Second is MOFU, which is middle of the funnel. This is the middle of the funnel, and the bottom of the funnel is conversion, which is the end typically of your funnel, which is sales, but there's now something after that can help you restart the process back to the top or the middle, which is retention. So if you do this right, I can simply just come back to the middle of the funnel and skip top of the funnel and go straight into consideration. If you do this right, if I see your engagement campaign on, let's say, Instagram, I'll probably want to engage because, oh, we have a relationship. I want your business to succeed because you've helped my life, right? Or I've used your product and service and I think it's really great and I really want you to continue, right? And you can decide that you want to skip all of this and go straight into a simple purchase. Hi, you have this product, I want it. How much does it cost? Or rather, I've seen the price already on your Instagram. This is the amount. Please send your account details. Let me pay for it. It can be as straightforward as possible, right? So in the previous model, the AIDA model, you would actually have to start with awareness. But people have realized that that doesn't necessarily have to be. So we need a new funnel. In a more simplified way, what is a marketing sales funnel? A marketing sales funnel is a visual representation of your customer journey, right? Everything here is the journey of your customer. The first stage is awareness. This is when they're getting to know about you. Second stage is discovery, when they engage with you. The third stage is consideration, when they're asking questions. The fourth stage of the journey is then ideally the final stage of the journey, which is sales. You're convincing them to make a purchase. And the final stage in the newer funnels is something that introduces a feedback loop called retention. And you can only drive retention by building relationships. So simply put, a funnel is a visual representation of your customer journey. It's also a visual representation of the stages of your campaign. So look at it from everything we've learned. Let's say you're trying to sell a product. You first have to start with awareness. You need to let people know that this product exists. Then beyond awareness, you need to have a way to engage with your audience, right? That's why people run engagement campaigns. It's why a brand like Piggyvest will tell you to write an essay so that you can win 1 million naira, for example. The next stage is consideration. How do you get people to generate inquiries? Do you want to put out a call to action on your post so that they can send you a DM? Or do you want to include your WhatsApp number so that I can send you a message on WhatsApp? Do you want to run an ad that links them straight into WhatsApp or Instagram? The last is conversion, where you are now convincing them to make a purchase. So if you're looking at it from the point of view of you setting up the campaign, these are your campaign stages. But if you're looking at it from the point of view of your customer, this is the phase or their journey into your product or service. I hope that really, okay, yeah, I guess you understand. All right. So just a quick breakdown of what the funnel is. I think I'm almost out of time. The first is awareness. This is where you grab attention. So now this is from the perspective of you setting up a digital marketing campaign. Awareness. This is how you grab attention. The goal is to make people know your brand exists, right? Use broad reach tactics like social media ads, influencer shout outs, blog posts, video content. Everything that you are doing, letting people know that you exist, that you have this product, is awareness. That's the first stage of your digital marketing campaign. The second stage is engagement or discovery. Now that they know you, they start to interact. Engagement is when they maybe follow your page, they watch your videos, they read your posts, they visit your profile. At this stage, your goal as the digital marketing person is to build interest and keep them curious. So you need to put out posts that keeps them coming back. It's why people use influencers to create content that is funny so that you can go back and then check. But if they go back and check and then you have all your products pinned on your top 3 posts on Instagram, that way I can see what your products is about. But what got me there and what got me engaged was your influencer video. The next is consideration. Now, after you've done all of this, people are now thinking about whether your product or service is right for them. That's when they start comparing. It's when they will look at your competition and say, okay, this person, your competition is more expensive. This person is cheaper. They will now ask you questions. What kind of material are you using to make this thing? What style of, what exactly are you doing that's making your product cheaper? They will look for reviews. They will ask people about you. What you need to do here is to ensure that you make this process easy. So share testimonials, put out your product features, give them special offers that brings them closer to making a decision. So at this phase, this is what you need to do. Then conversion, this is the action phase. For conversion, you need to have a strong CTA. If you don't have a CTA, you will not convert anybody, right? You need to make sure that your checkout is easy. You also need to offer incentives, discounts, bonuses to seal the deal. And the final stage is retention. After the sale, like I said, the journey continues. Keep your customers engaged through emails, loyalty programs, WhatsApp updates, and most importantly, great customer service. I promise you, you will not go back to a business that insulted you, right? Retention turns first-time buyers into repeat customers. The reason why I will consistently purchase TSG is because I like the way he speaks. I like the fact that it feels like I'm talking to a human being because he has done work in building a relationship between me and him. So it doesn't feel like some brand out there. It feels like an actual human being trying to sell shirts and t-shirts, right? So that's basically what you need to do at every stage. Mr. Godwin, can we just quickly do the last poll, just as a quick recap of everything that we were saying? Okay, so at the top of a simple sales funnel, what is the main focus? I think this is very straight to the point. So let's quickly answer the last poll for today. Yep, the top of every funnel is awareness, right? Your customers might not join at the top of the funnel, but it is the start of any consumer journey, and it is the start of your digital marketing campaign. You are starting with awareness most often than not, especially when you want to consistently reach new customers, right? Thank you. So now let's go into what the assignment is for next week. So this week's assignment is you need to define a digital marketing campaign by outlining what your main objective is. So all the things we learned in the essentials for a digital marketing campaign, I need us to do that. Define your target audience, define the channels that you would use, define the types of content you create. I also want you to go as far as defining what your message is, right? What are you trying to say? So don't just tell me what you're trying to say. Tell me the kind of content that you would use to create that. Extra points on if you can give me a sample content, but please, you don't need to go that far. The next element of it is then you now build a marketing funnel for your campaign, explaining how you will grab attention in the awareness stage, how you would encourage engagement in the discovery stage, how you convince your audience in the consideration stage, how you drive conversions in the purchase stage, and how you retain customers after their first purchase. So define what your digital marketing campaign is, and then show me a funnel. That's what the assignment is. So it's everything that we've learned. I want to see if we're able to practicalize this and apply that to our business. Either it is something that we're thinking of starting or something that already exists. Okay. And for next week, we'll be talking about offline to online integration. We'll also be looking at how we can use simple payments integration to help us, drive digital marketing campaigns. Also, how we can also use things like referrals to ensure that our campaigns are not just strictly online. We can also drive people from offline to online and online to offline. And the last thing in the last class will be analytics and reporting. Thank you very much. Mr. Godwin, over to you.
All right. Okay. So thank you very much, everyone. It's been a pleasure to learn with you for the past 4 weeks. And so we are in the class next week, right?
No, we have 2 more classes. This was the 4th
Two
one.
more classes. Okay, all right.
Okay.
So 2 more classes. Look forward to seeing everyone next week. It's always good to see everyone engaging and participating in the classes. So let's keep that up, and hopefully we get to learn more next week and learn new skills that can really take our business to new heights. So thank you very much for joining us again today. I'll see everyone next week. So the videos for the classes will be dropping on Monday or Tuesday. So you can look forward to that. Thank you. Bye.